Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. What's going on, family? Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. Shannon Raw, Trev Smooth, He Can Face Me, Marcus White, Clout Jones, Sean Antonio, So Hell, me, myself, and Lapeef JR. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, Jimmy? What's going on? How y'all doing?
I can't call like a broken phone.
What's up?
What up? What up?
What's happening, fellas?
Nothing much, man. I see Shan and Sean got the bright colors on today. Oh, I guess Trev too, man. You got the neon green, man.
Constructicons.
Okay, well there you go, man. That's what it sounds about right. It's good to see you guys. Glad to have you on King Talk tonight. Shout out to the sponsor, T Chanley Uncomplicated Skincare for Men, 30% off along with a free gift. The link is in the description, so make sure you guys go ahead and feel that teach. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's going to be a great show. We hope to bring some value tonight, some solutions, and maybe even discover some problems that you may not thought that you had. So,
hey Marcus, did you know that you don't be madness the bruh? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you knew.
Yeah, I seen his arms. I was like, yeah, he got them huge moves. You feel me? His hook's bigger than that thing. I'm tripping on Cloud Jones got a hologram camera. That's the most clearest camera I've seen anybody ever have. You got the Tupac hologram camera.
That's crazy.
no,
That boy clear.
that's AI.
Yes, that ain't him. That's the hologram.
That's the hologram.
That's crazy.
We never know what we're gonna get with Cloud, man. We're trying to get the game, man.
Come on, man. I'm working with the settings, you know? Always trying something new.
Yeah, we're about to send you a pamphlet or something like that, man. We're going to start at step one and then see if we can hash all those issues out over there, man. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get it cracking, man. Hit that like button again. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to go ahead and dive into our first topic. First topic of the night. Do women get comfortable in relationships too? This is something that my brother Trill was speaking on. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip in the context. Let's go ahead and dive into this conversation.
Value intimacy. We value you doing things specifically for us that you don't benefit from.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of women get in relationships and they just like forget the that you chose. When you got with me, you remember how many women was chasing after me back then, right? So again, you need to treat that man every day like those women that still chasing him, especially if he's doing what he's supposed to be doing in that relationship. He taking care of you, he covering you, he raising your kid correctly, giving quality time. He ain't one of them that go to work and just get in the bed and lay down. All right, baby, you got the rest of that. He coming home, reading to the kid, helping the kid homework, all that, taking care of you, making sure your mental stability is where it need to be at. So again, it's a lot of women out here doing, it's a lot of women that act like it's not a lot of men out here doing that. And there are. And those men need to be taken care of, but unfortunately, a lot of women drop the ball in that aspect.
Go ahead and dive into our first topic. Do women get comfortable in relationships too? I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first, Trev. What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Women get very comfortable. See, when women are trying to secure you, they do all the things that they know men love, right? They giving you dome and a whip. They cooking. They dressing sexy. You'll never see a bonnet ever in the beginning. You don't even know that they do that. Just the everything, right? And it all boils down to one simple word, if you ask me, and it's consideration, right? They are considerate of how you think. They are considerate of how you feel. Just considerate. They put everything out there to secure you, but then many times, not everyone, there are some good ones who know how to maintain it and put the effort, the energy, but more so than not, women can get very comfortable because they feel like they have you, particularly after marriage, when they know they sunk their teeth into you and there's not really much you can do, nowhere you can go. You're kind of trapped by law, or otherwise you ruin your life eventually and probably miss your kids too. So Yeah, after females secure you, they certainly don't do the same things in most cases at all that they did to secure you in the first place.
All right. I like that. Go ahead, Cloud Jones. What are your thoughts about it? Do women get comfortable in relationships too?
I would say absolutely. You know, like with all things, you know, familiarity can often breed contempt, and I think that oftentimes, women are driven by like a slight bit of a chase. Like they like having a man that's like slightly unattainable, and I think once they have him and they feel like they've conquered him, the interest is gone. So at that point, once the interest is gone, they get comfortable. Things start to slack. Things start to change. So I completely agree.
You said once the interest is gone.
Yeah, once the interest is gone, things start to change.
Why would the interest be gone?
Well, because, you know, once the relationship's been established for a while, sometimes the man's no longer a challenge.
Okay. Sir Hill.
Salute, my brother. How are you? JR, what's up, brothers, on the panel? Shannon Rawls, Trev, Hink, Marcus, Cloud, Sean. Good to see you guys. So yes, women absolutely do get comfortable. But I think is a couple different reasons. One is because depending on how attractive a woman is and how interested the guy is, he gives her passes and he allows her to become comfortable because he doesn't require very much of her. So I do think that women tend to get comfortable once they get established, and there's no more intrigue. There is a tendency to stop doing those things and giving that effort. It's like they did in the dating phase when they were pursuing each other. So I do think that most women, and especially married women, do. I can't tell you how often women today, like they'll be either before they get married, they'll be in the gym. You know, they're watching their calories, or if they get a divorce, they work on their weight. But during that marriage, like the intention on keeping their body up, it's either before marriage or after a divorce. It's never when they get married. And I think that it's because a lot of times when women get something, I think Clout said it before, it's that interest, but that intrigue goes away, and there's no longer anything challenging her to have to keep his attention. So yes, women do. And I think partially because a lot of men allow it depending on how attractive she is.
Hey, Sir Hill, if a woman is getting too big, do you think it's a man's responsibility to let her know?
Absolutely. I think you have to be honest. I say this to people now, especially in counseling, well, coaching, that if a person doesn't care about your health, if they do not love you. So if you got somebody who's willing to tell you you need to watch those calories and let's go for a walk, that person is somebody who cares about you, and it shouldn't be taken in a defensive way.
Okay. All right. So you don't lie to them?
Not at all.
Okay. I know we had this discussion last week, and I know Sean asked the panel that question that comes up. What was that question, Sean?
I forgot.
It was about the pee. He was saying, is this the best?
Oh, the best coochie is new coochie. You feel me?
Well, that wasn't the question, Sean. You kind of messed it all up, so we're going to go.
My bad. The question is this the best you ever had?
Yeah. So last week, Sean brought that question up because we was having a discussion about do women want to hear the truth? And so Sean posed that question when women ask, is this the best you ever had? What do you say?
Hello, I just want to see, did anybody get shot last week after that question was posed? That's what it is that might get you in trouble. I say it.
Boy, tap dancing already. Don't do it, Sir Hill. Hey, boy, you electrifying your way about that question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know so many people that's asking that question, but I mean, he did kind of startle a couple of people on the panel with that one. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Marcus. Do women get too comfortable in relationships too? Hey, Sir, you safe on that one? Oh, you're on mute, man. I don't know what you're doing. Sign language?
Oh no, so say it again. Jay, I didn't hear you.
I was talking to Marcus.
Oh,
I don't know what he got over there. He got a superhero Microsoft. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you, brother. Go ahead, Hank.
Can't hear you, Hank.
Damn, I thought it was just me. I'm sitting here like, is it me?
My bad, fellas. Yes, I do agree that they do get comfortable, and I think especially after they have that first child, they really get comfortable because now they feel like, look, I gave you the ring, now I gave you a child. What else do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? And so now they use the kids as an excuse to not do as much. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe to get a little lazy, or really get content. So yeah, I believe they do get comfortable, and sometimes it takes little things to maybe shake them up, like I think Clout was saying, or what Trail was saying in the video. And sometimes it may be, y'all go to a little gathering, and all of a sudden you see a woman looking at them from across the room a little bit too long, staring, and now she's feeling some type of way, and now she's thinking like, oh shit, these chicks I guess they still find him attractive, but is he still finding me attractive? What am I going to do to make myself to be get that type of look from my man? So yeah, I do. They think they get a little comfortable, and that's unfortunate. But ladies, I'm gonna tell you right now, get on your job, because these some mothers there's some hustlers out there. They sharks, these snakes, boy. They looking to get in, sneak in, and do what they can to get with your man. So.
Hey, go ahead, Trav Smooth. The women get comfortable in relationships too.
I did go already, but I did want to add something. So what I did want to add is that I feel like there's really things that you can do to mitigate the risk of her behaving in that manner. So one of the main things you want to do, and it's unfortunate, but females behave the best when they have a healthy fear of losing you. She has to understand that there are other women who are coming at you on a regular basis. That'll keep her on her toes. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to say every woman is like that, but for the women who tend to slide, she has to have a healthy fear of losing you. She has to know that there is always competition. So your best bet to keep her on her game is to you stay on your game. You stay sharp. You make sure you're well groomed. You make sure you're in shape. You make sure you are desirable to other women, and that'll absolutely help. All right.
Okay. Go ahead, Shan. What are your thoughts about it? Do women get comfortable in relationships too?
I would argue, why have the word "to" on the question at the end to suggest that men do it, and then do women do it also? I would argue that women are the only ones that get comfortable in a relationship. I tell people this all the time. I said the number one reason for divorce is lack of effort. It's not irreconcilable differences, finances, infidelity, but the number one reason for divorce is lack of effort on both people. But when men get with women, they like, and you guys heard the cliche, men expect women to stay the same and women expect men to change. So guys often stay the same as he was when he got married. Now, he may get a little lazy, but change or become something different, or if he didn't work out when they met, he probably is not going to work out when they get together. If he worked out when he got with her, he's probably going to work out for the rest of his life. That's just something that he does. Guys tend to stay the same through and through, and women want them to be something different. I want you to grow into the man that I want you to be. I want you to, I know where you were, but can we level up and be something else? And he's just like, yo, this is how I was when you met me. Women, on the other hand, guys expect them to stay the same. Man, I like how you were when I met you. You busted down on me, and you got your hair done all the time, and you kept it tight, and you dress fly, and then she gets comfy, and like I think my man said, she gets now she has a bonnet, now she's getting lazy, now she's coming to bed in sweatpants. She didn't used to do that when y'all was dating. The person that comes to bed different when you guys get married is always her. It ain't that you come into bed suddenly with a whole bunch of clothes on. We don't even hear that. That's not even a cliche. It's why are you coming to bed with all this different stuff on? Got your mask on, you got your hair wrapped up. You used to come sexy, whereas he been going to bed the same way all along, as a boyfriend to a fiance to a husband. You know, the baby come, the weight comes. The person, in my opinion, that gets comfortable in relationships are women, because men want her to stay the same and women want their man to change. Now, the problem is the lack of effort is on both people's parts. The guys aren't doing what they need to do to appease their women. The women want him to, you know, to maybe lose weight, but he was already kind of chubby, but he doesn't want to lose weight. He's fine. He likes going to In-N-Out Burger. He likes eating baby back ribs. He wants her to stay the same, but then she stopped working out no more. She used to go, but now she don't. She used to run, but now she doesn't. She used to be exciting and fun. Now she isn't. So the comfortable part in my argument would be, do women get comfortable in relationships? Question mark. Remove the two, but that's just me.
Okay, I like that. Everybody went on this? All right. Who didn't go? Sean?
Yeah. So I think it's 3 phases, right? So the answer is yes. I think it's 3 phases, right, as it relates to women trying to get a man. I think you have the attraction phase, you have the securing phase, and you have the keeping phase. What it takes to attract me is not necessarily the same as what it takes to secure me, to get me to wife you. And also what it takes to get me to wife you is not necessarily the same as what it takes to keep me. But sometimes there is overlap. Like what attracts me may be your vibe, maybe your look. To get me to keep you, to wife you, it's going to take something else, right? But once again, when it comes to keeping me, you better be doing whatever you did in them first two. If you were my whore, my personal stripper, I expect that shit going forward. Ain't no unilateral decision to take that shit off the table. I want it. I ain't telling you to stop doing it, because just like Trail said, if I was a dude that was getting to it when I got you, don't ever in your life think that you can stop it.
She's
If
not in
you
the
do,
mood no more, Sean. She's not in the mood no more.
and once she's not in the mood, it is a one-way ticket to supplemental vagina. So don't play with yourself. Just telling y'all, one-way ticket to supplemental vagina. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have your man out here providing side nigga dick to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So don't do it. Just telling you.
Damn. Sean, straight to the point, man. I had a question when Trev was talking, but I'm trying to remember it. I didn't forgot it. I think you were speaking about, what was your main point that you were saying when you came back to follow up?
Oh, having a woman. Well, the second time I said,
the second
basically, a woman has to have a healthy fear of losing you. I don't know if that's what you was pertaining to.
Yeah, it was that.
So you have to stay on I was pretty much saying you have to stay on your grind and stay desirable. So at least she knows that there are other women who are attracted to you, and she's gonna know.
I still can't think of the question. I remember you saying that. I had a question, but I called on Shan. Go ahead, Marcus. What are your thoughts about it? You back? Mic check. Marcus, can you hear me? Marcus.
He has some troubles. Marcus.
Yeah, I don't think we're in real time.
Can you see us? You can't hear us?
Y'all can hear me now, right?
Might be a little frozen.
Yes.
Okay, but I can't hear y'all. So I'm trying to figure out what just happened. I restarted it, but I can't hear y'all. Let me see.
You're good, Marcus. Work it out. He didn't swapped the mic cable to the speaker line. You know what guy?
Oh no, what y'all saying? This is a new computer too. Let me see.
Come on. What guy? Sir Hale. What married man, what husband that's been with his wife used to give his wife head and stop? What married man used to fix things around the house and all of a sudden letting everything fall apart? He doesn't fix anything around the house anymore. What man
who really didn't do it?
Huh?
A man who really didn't do those things to begin with.
A man that didn't do it to begin with. Exactly.
Nah, there's definitely dudes that fall off though. There's
All
definitely
right.
dudes
In what
that
in what
get
aspect?
nice and fat once they get married. You know what I'm saying? They start
No,
getting
no.
sloppy.
See, fall
They
off,
ain't driving that
and
fly car no
comfortable.
more. They in the minivan. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, Cloud Jones. I used to get in arguments on Clubhouse about fall off in the whole black don't crack thing. Fall off is different, in my opinion, than getting comfortable. You know, because people get older. You know, you can't. Your body changes and whatnot. I would argue that he doesn't do. I would argue that it's not that he doesn't do what he used to do. He just changed naturally. But maybe his habits was shitty to begin with. Maybe, you know, there's a lot of dudes that are physically fit. They don't think they got to work out. They don't think they got to take vitamins. They don't think that they got to lift. They don't got to run. They don't got to run because they just naturally look all right. And so, cool. If he builds that habit in his 20s, when he gets in his 30s and Mother Nature kicks in, suddenly he'd already built a habit of not doing shit. That's what he's going to always do. Then that's the fall off part. But what man, Clout Jones, used to do something consistently, and then now he just doesn't do it anymore?
I could tell you one thing.
I think I could see. I definitely could say. I don't know, man, because I've definitely seen
I could tell you one thing.
Everybody got that family member or that neighbor where you seen pictures of them when they was young, right? Like when they first got married, and you're like, "What the fuck happened to this guy?" Like this guy in the pictures is a bad motherfucker, but who's this guy that I see sitting on the couch? This ain't the same nigga. Like this nigga had you know, had some fly shit on, you know what I mean? Had some gators on or something, you know what I mean? He was looking like the man. He had the Cadillac back in the 70s. Now he looking kind of, you know what I mean, kind of washed up, got the beer belly, the couch kind of smelling crazy. He just watched the game all day. Like he not the same dude. Like even you might see a video of him at the wedding. He was cutting up. Boy had moves. And now you looking at him on the dance floor. It's like, bro, what's going on with you? And the wife like, yeah, I remember back in the days he used to take me out and we used to cut up on the dance floor. I don't know what happened to him.
I'll tell you, because that's my testimony. If you guys ever go to my website, I have a $5 supplement thing that I offer, and it's called The Fountain of Youth. And I show a picture. And in fact, JR seen that picture, maybe our first or second show 2 years ago. JR, remember that photo I put up of me 15 years ago? I'll put a link up in a second. But here's the thing. That guy.
You got on your page now, right? You saw that photo?
Huh?
It's on the photo you got. I just seen a photo of you.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram page right now. It's the second photo up or something like that. I
was like, Shan, is that you?
Yeah, it looked like an old man. But a guy who is putting all his all into somebody else, Cloud Jones. Somebody, the guy that you're talking about, the one that you say, damn man, this dude was fly back in the day. He had it going on. Then he got married, and what the fuck happened to you? Oftentimes, and I know this may sound chauvinistic or maybe not more chauvinistic than misogynistic. He put all of his attention in somebody else instead of concentrating on his own shit. And because he's putting all his concentration and attention and making sure he's doing his hardest and trying to make somebody else happy that probably will never be happy and is continuously pouring into them, he stopped pouring into himself and he became who you saw later on after he fell off. That would be my argument. I doubt
I
that
understand
it's
what you're saying.
I just said, fuck it. I don't want to do nothing in life. Not her nor me. I can't see. I don't know any men that do that, but I do know men.
I see the position you're coming from. It makes sense.
That did that. Huh?
It makes sense.
I would say the one thing that men stop doing sometimes is they don't date. Like they used to take their lady out a lot, like when they were courting and trying to secure it, but then sometimes they just stop. They don't go out anymore. They don't spend that one-on-one time. The intimacy drops off, and that's a major complaint I hear from a lot of women. They don't, because you would take them out. It would be date night. You would take them out a lot. You get married, you start worrying about bills, you start worrying about kids. That part's done, and that happens in a lot of marriages.
I want to pick up from what Shan said, if that's okay. Shan made to me a brilliant point. I think it's something that's often overlooked because men are expected to just do. We're just be robots, keep on performing, do what you got to do. But what Shan said, I think, is spot on. Most men who are really dedicated to their families will sacrifice their life. Like I remember there was this person that I lived next to as a kid and went to the mill. Back then they would go to the plants and they would work there. spent 20, 30, 40 years at this particular plant. And when I saw him in his older years, I've never seen him really around his family. Didn't really see him with people. What I did see is him in the garage. I saw him in the garage every day with his sodas, hot garage every single day, just by himself. I say that to say that a lot of men, we are raised to be fixers and builders of people, even at the expense of ourselves. And until a man gets to the end of his life and realizes that you really are investing it into a woman who's going to take what you have. Once you die, about 2 years from now, she's going to get remarried again. It's a reality that a lot of men experience that I don't think we talk about enough. The other part of this is there's a lot of mental health issues with men. Now, I don't just mean men are crazy. I mean, with the pressure of life, being a man, being a father, being a provider, having a plan, having a vision, chasing the bag, right? All that. A lot of men, when you see them just come to a halt in their life and they're just sitting in front of the TV, they're not really watching TV. The TV is really watching them. And something about life has hit them in a way, it has taken a blow to them in such a way where he starts to shrink because of life, whether he's disappointed in himself or he's not where he thinks he should be, or he has a wife and there's some pressure. The wife looks at him in a particular way and she has lost respect for him. So men start shrinking. Whenever you see a man who used to be like vivacious and outgoing and outspoken, and he starts to shrink, it's because he's wrestling with something on the inside. And I think it's incumbent on other brothers. And Shan said this a couple of weeks ago on the show. This is why we have to have a network of brothers. We have to have a wolf pack, because when you start to see your brother going into a cave, it's an opportunity to pull him out so that he doesn't sink into depression, and that he gets back to the man that he knows he could be and that you've seen him to be as well. So I wanted to make that point in relation to what Shan said.
Sariel, can you give me some examples of what would cause a man to go into the cave? Michelle?
Yeah. So disappointment. So let's say a man he's working, he doesn't have a particular degree, making $40,000-$50,000 a year. He's got a wife. She goes to school and she pursues her education, becomes a nurse. She starts making money, and now her friends, her pool of friends have changed. They are in school. They've matriculated. They've got upper class jobs, and if he's with a wife who makes him feel bad for where he is, and she puts that pressure on him that you need to do more, and by more, you need to make more money so we can have a more flamboyant lifestyle. That's one. But the biggest thing that I've seen for men is when they believe that the woman that they're with deserves more, and for some reason they don't feel like they can do it. And particularly the disappointment, you don't see this in your 20s. You may see it in your late 30s, but it's when you get 40s and you're like, I don't have the home that I want to have. I don't have the savings or the retirement. And you start looking forward and you realize that you're not going to have the same opportunities and energies going forward, that and you don't know how to change. I think that's what makes men slip into a cave, because he's disappointed within himself. And when a man feels disappointed within himself, he becomes a very negative person to be around. And it's not that he's trying to be mean or he's trying to be a monster. Is that men don't know how to exist outside of what we can look at and see he's performing and what he's doing. And when a man can't perform and do what he believes he can do, he becomes a very angry, a very cantankerous. He's hard to please and be around. And it's not because the people around him are doing something wrong. It's because he's fighting and he's beating up himself because he feels like he should do more and he doesn't know how to do it. So I think those are the two reasons. Either he's with a woman who puts unrealistic pressure on him, or he's just disappointed within himself.
All right. Sean, did you want to say something? Okay. Go ahead, Marcus.
All right. Y'all can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Great. So I missed part of it because I was restarting the computer. But I think what Sir Hill talking about, I think that happens a lot. Particularly when men, and it's not necessarily a monetary value either. So I've heard women talk about why they wouldn't date a man that makes less than them because of what Sir Hill is saying, that the men will come with that in energy, right? Because they don't feel adequate enough, and then they seem to take it out on her. I think Grant Cardone's wife was talking about this one day, where she was saying he needed to have a bigger purpose, because if he didn't have something larger he was working on, then he would take all of that energy and direct it towards me. And she said she couldn't take it the way he would direct the energy towards it. So I think you spot on with that, Sir Hale. I think the other thing is the way we view masculinity with the change in landscapes and jobs and all these things. I think we do for a reframe so that men can focus on the things that can make us feel complete as men, that will feed into our mental health, versus sticking to the old paradigm, which a lot of men in current society don't feel adequate enough because of the amount of money they're making, or because of the positions society deems as worthy that they have. So if because men are valuable, right? In the truest form, men will always be valuable. But we as men have to look at ourselves and see the things that we value that no one can take away from us. So we always maintain having self-esteem. We always try and push ourselves in a positive light, because we got to look in the mirror and see the value in ourselves. And it's not, if it's not monetary, it's the value you provide for your family by being there, by being a rock. It's the tutelage you do for the kids. It's being there in the gap, standing in between in all those moments. That is real value that we provide. And it's not on paper, and it's not a dollar amount attached to it. But in order to understand that, we as men need to be able to recognize that in other men, and and big up them for that, and push that forward as far as what we view masculinity as. And it's not just making money and beating on our chest. It's a whole lot of other things in between that go with that. And as the new era of men, we gotta push that forward.
Hey, Marcus, you know what's dope about? I watched that interview with Elena Cardone, Grant Cardone's wife. You know what's dope about her? That I think a lot of women in the Black community should probably try to adopt, is that while she was pushing Grant to do more, she was making sure that she wasn't in competition with him.
Facts.
Unfortunately, in our community, there's a lot of competition between man, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, man, woman. It's a lot of competition. And instead of one person pushing somebody else, the helpmate, pushing the person that needs help to move forward, they're both clamoring to get the deluxe apartment in the sky. They both want that corner office in that junior or senior level position at the firm. They both want to be in charge. They both want all the accolades of making it happen. They both are chasing the bag. Whereas like Elena, she was like, I ain't here to chase the bag. I'm here to support Grant. Grant to chase the bag. You go get the bag. What you need me to do? Okay, cool. I'll make sure that happens. You don't have to worry about that no more. Take that off of your plate. I'll cover that part of your life. You're good over here. What else you need me to do? Okay, what else you need me to do? Okay, I got this for you. And then you go be great. As opposed to, well, what can you do for me? Is what the wives are saying today. What I need your help so I can do this. And men are now pulling back from what they're supposed to be doing, their purpose, and then they're pouring into their wives to be in charge. And then in the event that he wants to do something, maybe a small business, and she wants to do something, a small business, now they fighting over whose business gets the attention on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
No,
who's working on at the laptop all night long trying to build something because they're chasing a dream, as opposed to one person being the leader or the forefront or the head of the spear, and the rest of them the support team. That's the difference with Elena. She made sure that she was not in competition with Grant as Grant built his real estate empire. She was supportive of him. A lot of women aren't like that today.
I want to ask a follow-up question. So, what if a woman has goals and she has an assignment or a purpose prior to her getting married? Like, should she sacrifice those things? Or should she ever come back around to it? Should it be happening simultaneously, or should she just strictly focus on whatever her husband is doing?
I think most men will once they've secured what they need to secure, will always want to see their wife succeed. You know what I'm saying? Because we, in my opinion, right? If you're in a relationship where you're not in competition, you want the best for that person, especially if they pour it into you. I don't know, using a example like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the remake. he was trying to push his wife towards the art, right? He was trying to help her find whatever she needed to connect back with the purpose that she had. But it was after the things that they needed as a family got secured. So I don't think that they can't have a goal if they don't want no goal. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the primary earner or the whatever the direction of the leader within that household needs to be, you know, adhered to, so y'all can move in the right direction for the relationship. Because I haven't seen a relationship that's lasted where the woman feels like she's looking down on a man or leading a man. What I tend to see when that happens is frustration, right? And that frustration leads to contempt, and that contempt leads to disrespect. And when you are in a disrespectful relationship, no matter how much you want to make it work, honestly, trying to make a disrespectful relationship work makes it worse. So it can't move forward based off of that.
Marcus, you mentioned there must be some buildup of frustration. What would cause that frustration?
You mean so the frustration from the woman?
Yeah. No,
So
because you said typically she's not that way, and she has to be that way because she's frustrated off of something. Like, what would cause that?
so if she feels as though she is the leader of the relationship, if she feels as though he has no mind and he just is a yes man for her, and she feels like she has to make all these decisions and bear the brunt of the responsibility for how this relationship is going to go, how this household is going to run, the decisions for the kids, all the decisions that she would want to come to you, dump in your lap, get an answer for, and execute on, instead of being able to do that, she feels she has to make all the decisions, and you're not helpful in that way, you're not useful. Then she can start to grow resentment and start to imagine herself with a man that she could actually follow. And in that case, that's why when people talk about this 50-50 and 51-50, like I'm telling you, that will not work as a relationship, because men could be in a position where their woman looks up to them and it be perfect. Women rarely can be in a position where the man looks up to them and they're happy with that relationship. It just, on a statistical average, will not work.
I'm starting to think about that question I have for you, Trev, that follow-up question. It was something about female nature. I think I wanted to ask you, do you feel as though all women are like that?
Well, one thing for sure, JR, you asked what happens if, so there's a difference between purpose and goals. I just want to, for those that's watching, I want you guys to understand that the purpose, a woman's purpose is her man. So y'all already know my answer to this question. You know, what happens? Should she stop doing what she's doing? Your purpose is me. You know, you can have goals, but your purpose is me. And so for the ones that's out there, I'll just keep it short and simple like this. For those that think that they have dual purposes, you can't serve two things at the same time under one household and think there's going to be long-term harmony. The whole Cosby show didn't work. We tried it. I'm 51. We thought the Cosby show, where Dr. Huxtable and you know, he's the doctor and the wife is the lawyer, and they had living happily ever after up under no, that shit didn't work. We all tried it. It didn't work out. It's too much. It's like my man said, it's a whole lot of resentment. It's a whole lot of fighting. It's I want a BMW. She wants a Mercedes Benz. Which one do we get? It's hard to decide because she wants what she wants and I want what I want. And so now we fighting over. And then if we do decide on what kind of car to get, I want black, but she wants white. But how am I going to do? So if you got two bosses up under one roof, it becomes problematic. It just does. And so, if women would understand their purpose, this is biblical. You can't call yourself a Christian if you don't understand. Don't say I'm a Christian, but I'm picking and choosing. Christianity isn't a la carte. It's not a buffet. You don't get to pick what you like and ignore the stuff that you don't. You got to eat it all. And so as a result of that, you have to understand your purpose. Your purpose is me. And if you understand that, life would be a whole lot easier.
Okay. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to King Talkers. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, T-Channel, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Let's go ahead and get into our next topic. We're going to discuss over-talking. Over-talkers.
Ask for respect. Don't cut me off. Don't yell at me. And then now I raise my frequency, not to yell, but just to actually hear myself, get in your bag and say, oh, I don't like the way you're talking to me.
Over talkers will continuously cut you off while you're in the mode of saying what you got to say. which can make you mentally, emotionally disoriented. You lose your train of thought, depletes the energy you have to continue the conversation. You end up becoming a shutdowner, which is number 2. You just wave the white flag. It's people haven't purified their communication. It takes them a long time to what I call land the plane. 5, 10, 15 minutes to actually make it to a point. And you doing your best to try to listen, to navigate. You coming up with stuff you want to say, and they keep saying, no, I'm going to finish talking. When I work with people, they don't just vent. We come up with comprehensive game plans. Just like speed chess. When they make a move, they hit the clock, and then the other person is on the clock. Communication clock, this helps over talkers and yellers. Whoever has the floor, y'all will come up with whatever amount of time that is. Let's say 3 minutes. You got the autonomy to say whatever you need to say for 3 minutes. The only way I could stop you, raise my hand. I'm not even going to say nothing. That means pause. You stop in your tracks, you hold your thought, and I go to take notes. Something may have come up in what you said. I may have realized something, but I'm not going to cut you off. I'm going to take my notes, unpause, you finish your 3 minutes. You hit the clock, let's change. You got to teach each other how to listen, because a lot of times we come from environments where that skill set was not there whatsoever.
All right, let's go and talk about over talkers, man. I don't know about y'all, but I do know some people that can talk for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then when you say something, they either cut in and over talk you. Sir, here, I'm going to go ahead and start first. Over talkers. What are your thoughts about this? This is really important when it comes to communication, as you know, with everyday people, including your marriages. So go ahead, sir.
Excellent question. So I think it's disrespectful, and it comes from a place of arrogance. Like for somebody to be in a thought, and for you to think that what you have to say is so much more important that you're not even actively processing what they're saying. Like you're just listening and you're waiting for a break in speech so you can say what you already want to say. You're not even listening. And so I think that over talkers are people who lack maturity. Like they're not emotionally regulated. So they're impulsive when they talk, and they react to what's being said, and they're not even really responding to what's being said. They're reacting to what they think is being said. And I find out that people who overtalk, it's like something that could be resolved within a few minutes of a conversation. Well, let's put it out on the table. You share your thoughts, I share mine. They make it go on for a long time. And let's just be honest. Unless you have the patience of a saint, most of us will get frustrated and cuss them out or let them know about themselves, because it's frustrating. It's disrespectful for me to, first of all, have to keep on going over the same point with you. And you keep on interrupting me, and you are the one who don't understand what I'm saying. So over talkers, I think, are people who lack maturity. And those kind of people will eventually find themselves by themselves, because nobody has that energy to give that emotional labor to somebody who just don't seem like they want to listen, and they just want to talk and get their point across. So they get on my nerves. That's what I think about overthinkers.
Sir Hill, I want to ask a follow-up question. So what if somebody is talking in circles, or they're not articulating a point, you're not getting to it? Would you say that it's okay for somebody to come in and overtalk? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's a difference between, and I think the guy alluded to it in the clip. You raise your hand and hey, let me ask you a question here, and let's re-steer us. Let's get us on track. We've all had kids, right? We've got kids, and if you got small kids, you have had your kids walking after school and just go on and on and on and on. And when they're talking in circles, you kind of re-steer by asking them a question to get them back on track. I think that is perfectly fine, and it shows that you are actively listening. So I think in that case, a respectful interruption is appropriate.
All right. Go ahead, Brother Hank.
I'm gonna get it right this time, goddamn me. I ain't gonna get me like you did last time. Yeah, that Sir Hale's right. That is a very, very much a form of disrespect. I had to have this conversation before with my lady about that form of disrespect. I don't play that shit. That's not acceptable. It's not what we're gonna do. But the thing about it to me, it's like a lack of impulse control. I mean, am I talking to a child now? Because I thought I was talking to a grown-ass woman. But if you can't give me the patience, or you can't be patient enough to at least to hear me out, respect me enough to hear me out, then I'm not going to have that conversation, continue to have that conversation. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to table the conversation, intentionally table the conversation, until you're ready to actually have the conversation. Because I talked about this before on Sunday, talk about how a lot of ladies will say they want to talk, but talking means there's an interaction. I'm listening, you're interacting with me, and you're listening. But if it's just a one-way street, you're not talking. You're just lecturing. You just give me a goddamn lecture. Now, if that's what you want to do, or you just want to vent, then you need to say, let's talk. Just say, let me vent. And I'll be patient enough. I'll listen to you. I'll let you get it all out, and then we'll go from there. Now, if you're looking for a solution after that vent session, I will get that for you. But if you're not, then I'll just be a great listener. But ladies, y'all got to be able to give us the same respect that we're going to give to you. A man will, like I said, stare you in the face, listen to everything you say, and y'all ask the question, did you hear what I said? Man, we heard what you said. You've been talking the whole goddamn time. We just been intently paying attention to you, ladies. We don't want to be disrespectful. We're not going to cut you off because I expect that same goddamn respect when it's my turn to get mine off. So yeah, over talking it's a bad thing, ladies, and it's to me, I think it's just a period of a lack of impulse control, and we got to grow up.
JR, can I say this really quickly? So I believe this is from doing interviews and doing shows. Here's what I believe. You can't, all right, let me say this right. You can't be nice to overtalkers. And here's why I say that. Like when I see people who overtalk, and it happens in my family, and unless you are stern and you shut it down immediately, like you can't let them continue and then you be quiet and then you think that you're modeling how they should behave. Overtalkers will continue to overtalk until you put a stop to it. So I say this to everybody who's listening. You have to be assertive, and you have to, I don't want to say you have to come off as calloused or cold, but you have to be firm in what you say. If somebody is overtalking you taking a more a humble approach and you becoming quiet to listen as they overtalk you, it's only going to create more disrespect and more overtalking. So you got to shut it down.
Sorry, I would just walk away. Since you on disrespect mode by talking over me, I will turn my, see where I'm from. If I turn my back to you, I'm disrespecting you right there and walking away. This conversation is not going to continue. You don't deserve my time and energy if you can't respect me enough to listen to me. We're not doing this.
All right. Go ahead, Sean.
I think the guys are spot on, man. I think it's a sign of a person who may be a narcissist. It's also a person who lacks emotional regulation. I think there's no reason for it. I think it's a person that says what I have to say is more important than what you have to say, and it makes me think about people who will come to you and say that you all need to be on the same page, but what they're really saying is you need to be on my page. And so I do think that's a narcissistic person, and that's a person that you should absolutely run the hell away from, because they're never going to listen to you. They literally are waiting for you to take a breath so they can respond, and that's it. So yeah, I would stay away from those people.
Sean, when it comes to panels, do you think these same rules apply? Do you think the people that overtalk on the panels, would you make a strong argument that they have a impulse with their emotions as well?
I think so, but overall, I think a lot of people that I think of immediately that do it are just ignorant as hell. They're really just very ignorant individuals. Some people do it for shock value. Some people do it for entertainment value. Some people are just assholes, pure assholes. But then some people, yeah, they really do think that they're the foremost expert on every single thing. And I'm thinking of a few names that I won't say, but yeah, it's a lot of people like that.
Yeah. It's this guy that I was listening to, and he said that he don't read books of people that he agree with. He read books of the people that he disagree with, because how else is he gonna know that he's wrong? So
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
if you're listening to everything that you've been taught and you agree with, this is how you model. In order to offset that a little bit, you got to bring some in that you never heard, or something that you really not too fond of, because somebody may be able to articulate a way, and you may discover that you're wrong, or you wasn't doing it the correct way. You may have been a little bit off on that.
Right. And let me just reinforce what Sir Hill said. I think it's very important, especially in the beginning of relationships, to set the tone. Whether we like it or not, there's a power struggle, especially in the beginning of a relationship. It's almost like as a basketball player, you boxing out, trying to decide who's going to have position to get this rebound. If you let a person do that at any point, they're going to feel like they can do that at every point. So if you let it fly, they're going to treat you like that all the time. And you're going to start, especially as a man, you're going to start to feel like you're the woman in a relationship. So you can't let that fly. I'm not saying be abusive. I'm just saying check that shit immediately. So, yeah. Don't be letting y'all women verbally abuse y'all out here in the chat, bro.
Like, I think that might be one of the examples that Trev might agree with and say that's when men get comfortable, right? Go ahead, Clout. Your thoughts about it, sir?
I agree mostly with what everyone says so far, as far as dealing with over talkers. They can often be like arrogant or narcissistic. But I think one part of the problem that he did address in the video is I think a lot of people don't actually have actual protocols on how to debate correctly. Like I think that like in this country specifically, people are really lacking as far as on the education on how to have a proper debate with someone. And so I think that just awareness and talking about the protocols like he did, because I'm someone who's had several debates in my life, been on several panels, and those tools that he gave to me were like, whoa, those are great tools to make a conversation go well. And sometimes you are dealing with a narcissistic person, but sometimes you're just dealing with someone who's passionate. And when two people are passionate and they're having opposing points, sometimes in the passion, you don't even realize that you're ranting. And then you don't even, and the other person's trying to get a word in edgewise, and you don't even realize that, it feels like they're cutting you off, and it might feel like this whole struggle when really it's that you started the conversation with no parameters to even succeed. Once you're having a debate, we got to set the rules. Okay, cool. Say what you got to say. You got 3 minutes, like he said. I won't say anything. I'll raise my hand. I'll take notes, and I'll give you the opportunity to express yourself. And then vice versa, I get my 3 minutes. I think that if people go into these conversations with these rules in place first, it'll make hard discussions a lot easier to have. So I really think it boils down to like education and training, and just having these rules out there, like, on these panels, even just saying it, just putting that out there, just gives people the opportunity to understand, okay, let me give this person 3 minutes to talk, and then I can interject, or, and then we have rules of engagement so that we can set a better tone.
Hey, Cloud, I feel what you're saying, but would you agree that you said that people are passionate sometimes, and I agree with that. But if every time you talk, they're passionate, wouldn't you think that constitutes disrespect?
I definitely believe there's a point where it can be disrespect. Absolutely. So I would never argue against that. But I think sometimes when debates do get passionate, people don't mean even to be disrespectful sometimes. It's just like, yo, like I'm on this side and you're on this side, and I'm really trying to express my point to you, but in the heat of it, we're both getting frustrated. And just having those rules gives us something to fall back on, like, hold on, let me give him his 3 minutes. I got 3 minutes now to cool down and write notes and get my point together, so I don't feel so overwhelmed and feel like I need to express myself in a rush, and vice versa.
So, Klaus, so let me add perspective. So what we're speaking to is how it should be. In reality, there's a lot of people who just you have the conversation and you think you have a breakthrough. Here's how we're going to talk. We're going to do this. We're going to be respectful. And then you have to repeat it the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. I think it is frustrating to have to continuously repeat yourself to someone about how to respect me in a conversation. Like, there was a lot of women
absolutely
who don't talk to me like I'm a kid. Lady, you're acting like one. They don't talk to me like I'm in the second grade. Well, ma'am, I questioned what your grade level, because as we're talking, it's like you're listening and you're hearing through your emotions, and you're so impulsive. You're not even responding and reacting to what I'm saying. You're responding to how you feel about what I'm saying. Right. And I think the frustration comes in where so let's say you're with a passionate person, and most people who have something to say are passionate. But if I have to say the same thing and you're disrespecting me in the same area, that's just a different level, a layer of disrespect. So now you're over talking me, and that comes off to me as you're being arrogant. And now I got to keep on going back to set a standard, and you just won't get it. And here's the big part is they don't do that to other people. Like at work, they don't do that. To people who they care about and want to impress, they don't do that. It seems that they only do it to a man that they are comfortable with. I think that's where the frustration comes in at.
Well, I would agree that once it's habitual, then we would definitely classify that as a character flaw. Like that's somebody that you definitely need to step away from. But I think when it's situational, I think that the tools that he put forth are like a great way to make a conversation go better or make a debate go smoother by giving each person their time and just going through the steps. Give me a pause, take your notes, and then we can really get deeper that way, and we can really engage because you'll have a time to process, and I'll have a full amount of time to express myself with the awareness that, hey, I got 3 minutes. I got to say what I got to say concisely, wrap it up, get to the point, and I got to give you the floor at some point. So I agree with everything you guys are saying, though. I just also think in situations where you're not dealing with narcissists, it's great to have those rules of engagement.
Cloud, one more question to what you said. Wouldn't we also have to say it depends on who we're having the conversation with? So say, for instance, a father to a son. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, ain't no reason your son should get passionate and raise his voice and kind of talk aggressive to you at no point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think it also depends on who. If it's a person who should be deferential to you, now some men, they classify their woman as somebody who should be deferential to them. So they would say that there's no room for that person to ever be passionate with them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that matters too, who it is.
I would agree.
And I do want to point this out too, and I think this should be a standard rule no matter how somebody feels, is that you have to realize that people have short attention spans. So when you are talking, you have to keep it like 2 to 3 minute minimum. I don't think most people cannot bear, unless you have a nice tone to your voice. Sometimes you may, or unless you're talking something. So there's some people on the panel that people can listen to all day. But even on the panels, I say keep it short, keep it brief. And you have people that go on these monologues. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at everybody else get irritated and frustrated because they're sitting there patiently waiting because this person been talking for 6-7 minutes strong. Keep it short. You can always come back around. It doesn't have to end. You can keep the conversation going as long as you want. So when you guys are conversing with one another, y'all having that serious talk, be mindful of the listener, because the listener is exercising as much patience as they can. But if your mouth getting dry, you've been talking too long.
See, that's what I was going to tell. I was going to speak on that, JR. See, over talker, right? Like we're talking about over talkers, and I tend to believe that women like to interject, interrupt, and over talk often, right? More so than men. However, and this is King talk, men are extra talkers. See, the problem is a lot of guys, and unfortunately, I fail at this myself. We talk too damn much. And then as soon as somebody want to interject or interrupt, we get mad, say, damn, can I finish or whatever? But you've been talking for 5 minutes and you talked about 3-4 different subjects while your ass was talking for the last 5 minutes. So if you in an argument, fellas, with your girl and she interjects or she interrupts or she over talks you, did you talk for the last 10 goddamn minutes? Is she lost in the sauce and the translation is all gone because you moved on to 4 different topics or you touched on 4 different things, and she's supposed to, in her response, once you finally finish, go back and touch on each one of those 5 things that you did? Should she take notes, or should we be succinct? That's the term. Men particularly, because men tend to talk too damn much. Women tend to over talk. Men tend to talk too long. Men, we need to be more succinct, where if we want to have a conversation about a few different things, like JR just said, throw out that one point and give her an opportunity to respond. And then you won't get over talked. But if you throw out that one point and then you say, okay, fuck it, I want to keep going. And we know another thing that we do, men, we'll say the same thing 3 different times. We'll say the same shit. We're trying to emphasize something 3 different ways. I am guilty of this. Now, my argument typically is, because I don't think you got it the first time and shit. That's what I usually say. You know, I'm only saying it a different way because I don't think that I looked at you and you didn't look like you understood what the fuck I was saying the first time. So I have to say it 3 different fucking ways. I say it in Spanish, French, and English. However, that's not right. And I know, and that's just a personality flaw of my own that I'm trying to work on. I'm an old man. I don't know if I'll ever fix it, but I know that that's a problem of mine. Even now, as I'm speaking in this mic, I'm talking too long. And so we have to learn, gentlemen, kings, to be more succinct with what we have to say, get our point across, and allow somebody else to speak so they won't overtalk us.
Sometimes,
Can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah, I would say sometimes men just talk too long anyway. And when you talk too long, you say too much, and then you'll bury yourself, whatever it may be. Sometimes keep it short, brief, straight to the point. All that long talking, you want to say some shit that you probably was gonna regret. But go ahead, Cloud.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Shannon. Would you also say that there's like a disparity between the attention spans between men and women? Because I did notice that while you were talking, that you did rephrase or re-say kind of what you were saying in a couple ways. But at no point did I have the urge to interrupt you, and I don't think any of the other guys on the panel had the urge to interrupt you. So I think that maybe that might be where a lot of us as men are failing in conversation with women, because I think we're used to having conversations with men in a way where we could go on and say the same thing in multiple different ways, and dudes just gonna sit there like word. Whereas women want to just be, women want to give their, they want to give feedback throughout the entire conversation. So maybe I think what you said to me was kind of profound, because I never looked at it from that perspective. But would you agree, or do you think that there's a disparity in the attention span?
Absolutely. We speak Martian. We from Mars. We from a whole different part of the solar system. We over here, we speak Martian, and our Martians know how to speak to each other. They speak Venetian, and they know how to speak to each other. When the Martians try to speak to the Venetians, we get lost in translation. And so my Martians are patient with me. They could just sit there and they could be like, yeah. Oh, Shan's saying that shit again. Okay, cool. Oh, Shan said it the third time a different way. Same thing he said the first time, but I like how he said it the third time. That's cool. And then when Shan finally fucking finishes, I'll jump in. That's what men do. Women, we say it one time, and we talk about the second time, she wants to jump in. She's like, damn, I heard you already. But that's how they talk over there. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. Now, what's the solution? Do we have to have an intermediary every time? Do we need a translator? Do we have to have a therapist to explain to us? Should we type it in a fucking text message since we can't say it face to face? That happens a lot too. I used to in my past marriages, I used to do? I had to record shit. I get in the I don't know if you guys have done this, or I don't know if anybody else that's watching the show has done this before. I get in an argument with my ex. I had to bust out the damn recorder and record stuff because I'd say I said something. She said I didn't say it a certain way. And I know I said it a certain way. So I was like, I don't even trust that you're hearing what the fuck. I had to record stuff. And then I scroll back to the recorder, play it back to let her know what I actually, because we are lost in translation. And I got to use a fucking iPhone to record our argument so she won't blame me for saying something. Or you know what I also get? That you should have said it a certain way. Why are you saying it like that? You said it with an. I'm like, I was nice as fuck. No, you wasn't nice. And I'd be like, damn, I was. I had to play it back, show how nice I was. Crazy, man. So it's just we different, two different planets, man.
Yeah,
my fault. Go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, if you ever wanted to do a recording, make sure you do it on the front end of the conversation, because if you was to put it in the middle, then that's going to alter how she's having a discussion. So make sure you do it on the front end before you start. Set the tone in the beginning. Go ahead, Hank.
No, I was going to say, Shan, did you hear the word asshole after you did it?
So I think y'all super cooked this. Hank with the setting boundaries within the conversation about things you're gonna stick around. Like y'all, everything they said was on point. And I think, like, in order for us to have successful relationships, like with women, what Shan's saying about we speaking two different languages, that could not be more true, right? That, like, I understand, like, in the dealings with women, I kind of learned how to translate it into something they can hear. And you know how I know that the women can hear me well in what I'm saying? It's when the men usually don't agree with what I'm saying, even though I know this is their viewpoint. But I'm saying it in a way that I know the women can actually hear it. And if I was to rephrase the exact same thing and say it to the men, the women might not hear it. I can tell the difference in how we perceive things. And the skill of being able to sit and let somebody get something out, I believe y'all all right. It's emotional regulation and impulse control, and having the ability to sit down. And what I try and do is run all my thoughts through logic, right? So no matter how explosive the feeling may be, I take it in and I put it through that translator. Just like I'm translating what women say to me, I'm translating my feelings for something. And how can I translate this into a logical response? And sometimes that might require me to woosah in my head, like, that's wild. But okay, this is the answer to that, because maybe it's something in there I could glean from it that's worthy of speaking on, right? So that's why I tend to try not to argue with people. But these panels help me a whole lot, because in real life, violence is always a possibility. It's no possibility on the panels. So I don't want to be engaging in the back and forth, yelling and arguing with somebody. So like he said, I'd rather walk away than sit there and yell back and forth, because I can't touch you. So, and that's why I don't argue with women, because I'm not hitting them. So,
Marcus, you got the patience of a saint. You were on a panel the other day, last week, with a young lady who's very controversial, and she was trying to bait you. And man, I saw you gather yourself multiple times, and you handled it well. You navigated the conversation well, even though she was literally she was throwing darts. You handled that shit really well.
A lot of darts, because I normally don't even be like even caring like that. I was like, damn, you about to draft me into the gender war. I'm not going. I'm not getting drafted into this gender war. I think I even told her, like, hey, I'm not interested in this gender war stuff. That's not my aim. Nah, yeah. Some people was mad they wanted me to fight with. I'm like, bro, that's proven a point that we as men don't have impulse control. I'm just gonna put on a masterclass of how to not respond emotionally and be the example of what you saying we not.
Go ahead, Trev.
All right. So Marcus and Shannon made a great point that this typically doesn't happen with men outside of the internet, because the internet energy is just internet energy, right? Because if we were face to face, either we're going to disengage or come up with a more effective way to settle the dispute. It is what it is. Now, women, on the other hand, know that there is no threat of violence. So a lot of times they will, because, of the what could happen to us if we decide to become violent, right? Which is ultimately what happens when disputes get heated, barring consequences. So women, sometimes to kind of back up what Clout Jones was saying, I don't think that they are trying to disrespect you necessarily. I think they're just weak communicators sometimes, can't communicate effectively, because for them to just even decide to bring up a point like they want a two-way conversation and then just don't. I mean, there could be some arrogance involved, but I watched females take that into their friendships. I watched them take that into the workplace and get fired all the time. You can't keep a job because you don't know how to communicate effectively. So you can't even hear what it is that I'm saying. And there's certain times I've given people chances. Like I would say, all right, listen, I'll let you go first, just so you can get all of this out that you want to get out, right? And I will listen to them. Not 2 minutes, not 3 minutes, whatever. If you take 10 minutes, I'm not going to interrupt you once. And I'm not going to write nothing down. I'm going to take all the mental notes. I'm going to, not just listening to respond, but to effectively communicate where I'm coming from, right? And what I see that could be wrong with the situation. Let them go until they stopped. I'm not going to keep butting in. I'm not going to raise my hand. I'm not going to say, are you finished? Are you done? When they stop. Right? Cool. All right. Now I'm going to go. I'll go. And I'll break down. I won't even get through the first point and then get stopped. And I'm like, damn, I didn't interrupt you once. What are we doing? You can't give me 30 seconds to go. I was like, all right, do you want to go again? Go ahead. Let him go again. Come back to me. Don't even matter. They still interrupt you. They just have, they have, and I'm not putting this on all women. I'm just saying that some women that I ran into have a serious issue communicating effectively, and they can't let you finish a sentence. And I mean, it doesn't make sense to stay in a relationship with somebody like that, because you can't get anything resolved if they can't hear you. How can you come to any type of a resolution if you can't ever get your point across, if you can't ever get your perspective out? How are they going to know? And they don't care. They obviously don't care enough to control themselves or have the inability to do it. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever your reason is. If you can't hear me out after I've been patient and listened to every single thing that you said, it doesn't make sense to be in a relationship with somebody like that because you'll never come to any type of resolution.
I want to add one more thing. Have y'all noticed that, like, on the panels, when people may be able to have a efficient 1 to 2 minute conversation, it'll devolve into 2 hours of just yelling and not letting the person speak. When somebody could simply just let them say what they needed to say for the extra 30 seconds and went on with it. It's the oddest thing, but it's extremely inefficient. It's extremely inefficient, and it's a waste of energy on my belief. But I get it. Sometimes you just don't want to back down. You want to make sure you had the last word. You want to assert your dominance within that conversation. I don't know. That's just an interesting thing I noticed about the panels.
Yeah, you might have teach a class, Marcus.
Set it up.
All right.
Set it up.
You guys just tuned in. Welcome to King Talks. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, Teach Hanley. Appreciate everybody that's in the chat. I see the chat is going. Shout out to all my green gang, Angela Swift, Lexicon, Torrance, BZ. Shout out to everybody who want to become part of Green Gang. That link is pinned to the top of the chat. Moving on right on to our next discussion. We're going to be talking about.
I think somebody super chatted a question, JR.
Somebody did? Okay. BZ, formerly Zaddy. Question for the panel. Do you think it is because most men were not allowed to express themselves when they were young, so when they get older, they can't shut the F up? Bad communication came from somewhere. You guys think that's true?
Most men that were raised by single women. I think you got to understand, boys. This is what. So our boys they're inundated with women. Most of their teachers are women. They're all of them. You know, how many times how many male teachers did you guys have compared to how many female teachers, women teachers? So it's just, they got teachers that's teaching them all day and talking to them. Then they got their aunties that's there. Then they at grandma's house and grandma's giving them. Then they with their mama, and then they got their sister, and they hear, and those women are shutting down those boys' voice most of the time, because the women don't have a voice outside of speaking to a grown man. So they're going to talk to the boys. And so, to his question, the boys are not allowed to express themselves when they have oftentimes when they're raised by single women, in my personal opinion. Now, when there's a healthy, balanced family and there's dad there to sit there and listen, go ahead, son, explain it to me. You know, that's the thing that you guys probably just imagine that just in your head just now, when you imagine a father saying, okay, tell me what happened. And then the kid, whether he could speak good or not, he's getting it out. How many times you ever heard a woman say, okay, go ahead, I'm all ears. Tell me what happened. I'm listening. You don't hear that. So those boys' voices are suppressed. And when they grow older, now they want to say everything and they want to talk, because this is the chance they get.
Yeah, I just add on to it. I don't think it can be single mothers, right? But I think it could be just don't have nobody to talk to. So it could be the father as well, because sometimes you may have fathers that live in the house, but they don't exist in the house, if that makes sense. So I think that them being able to express themselves, being able to speak.
Dad is busy at the computer all night. Go, y'all go play.
Yeah,
and he's doing his work, bringing work home and shit.
Yeah, like he's doing that, and then too, there's a bunch of yelling in the house as well. You know, when there's a bunch of yelling in the house constantly, then that's what that kid grows up on, and he's going to probably show that same energy when he gets old as well, because he doesn't know how to have a civilized conversation or how to handle conflict. His way of handling conflict is by yelling and screaming. And sometimes if you see physical abuse, then he may resort to that as well. So I think a child's upbringing, like same way how we say a woman's upbringing, all those play critical roles into adulthood.
A quick thought on that, if I may. So I think too, another side of this is men like to be thorough. So if we're going to talk about something, I want to talk about it. And if it's an issue, I don't ever want to have to talk about this again. And so when we get something out, we've mulled over it, we thought about it. And when we present it to you, we expect that after this conversation, there's going to be some changes made. And I think that sometimes it can look like he's saying too much, but this is because women talk frequently, right? So, they talk often, right? Text messages, social media, on the phone with friends. Most men, however, they talk for longer periods of time, less frequently. So when a man is getting something out, I think it's partly because he wants to be thorough. He wants to make sure that there's no stone left unturned and that he never wants to have to revisit it again. I think it's unrealistic to expect that, but I think that that's a component of why most men say a lot is because of that.
All right. Want to say something, Sean?
Yeah, I just think it's on an individual basis, but I do agree that it's a product of your upbringing in general. So for me, like, I had a single mom, but my mom wasn't the issue at all. My uncles would thump you in the head and tell you to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? They ain't want to. You know what I'm saying? They wanted you to shut up. My uncle said it wasn't no lessons at the moment. Now maybe later they'll teach you lessons, but in the moment, shut up. You know what I'm saying? But my mom, she wasn't. She was great with it.
All right. Shout out to your mom, Sean. It's on you. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Our next discussion is it true that women struggle with accountability? There's a video that circulated, so I know we talk about it all the time, but I think she made some points because it's still happening. It's still happening. So even though we talk about it a lot, we try to see if we can look at it in different angles because I don't think people realize how important this is and how it hinders a lot of marriages. It was some words that they put in there. Let me go ahead and put that up. Is it true that women struggle with accountability? Here is what evolutionary psychology tells us. Women are more sensitive to negativity and negative emotions. They have higher levels of neuroticism. Hope I said it correctly. Their executive functioning is higher than a man's of the same age. If they have a child before leaving adolescence, they can become emotionally stunted. Their hormonal changes do play a part in their emotional responses. Do women struggle with apologizing and being held accountable for their bad behavior? So let me go ahead and run this clip, and then we'll go ahead and we'll discuss it. There we go, right there.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
All right. So you guys heard, is it true that women struggle with accountability? Cloud, I know you said you just watched this video before the stream. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
Oh, you said, who did you ask?
You, Cloud.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely just watched it before the show. So, I absolutely agree that that women absolutely do have a hard time accepting accountability, at least from my experience, and from the experiences that I've heard other men share. I think that's one of the biggest struggles that men seem to have with women, is trying to get women to take accountability for their actions. I also think it's kind of interesting because it's like it takes a whole psychologist, like or a therapist or whatever, to evaluate tons of people to come to the same conclusion that men have been saying for years. So it kind of goes to show how much what we say is ignored too, because it's like you would know that if you talk to any man. Like any man you talk to will tell you that women have an issue with accountability. You don't have to do a bunch of studies and have clients and patients or whatever the case is. It's like it's apparent. So yeah, I agree 100%.
All right, go to you, Trev. Is it true that women struggle with apologize? I know she mentioned that in there as well.
You know what? It's an ongoing joke in the in the male spaces, period, manosphere, whatever you want to call it, that women are allergic to accountability. I'm so pleased to see a woman actually acknowledge it, like Cloud Jones was saying, because that is actually a woman being accountable for other women. So that's a plus right there. But if you ask a woman in general about her own actions, no. And if you ever do involve a third party, you're going to see an experience like she was explaining before, whether it be counseling, she'll withdraw if it's her friends saying or agreeing. That's like the worst thing ever, and they won't be their friends anymore. It's that serious. So or family members, if they just try to listen to the situation and go objectively, then they automatically take offense to it because they don't ever want to see themselves as being wrong ever. So I could honestly say she nailed it with that one. Women don't want to ever feel accountable for it. But the question is why? Is it because do you legitly always think that you are right? Could you honestly always feel like you're right all the time, that you could never be wrong, that you could never say, oh, I'm sorry for that, or oh, I should have done better, or let me work on this? There's a lot of women out here, and I can't say all because there are some gems out there that just are considerate. That's my word of the day today, considerate. But in a lot of cases,
they're all married.
Women are. What's that?
The women that the considerate ones, they're all married.
Yeah, well, at least they're considerate going into the marriage.
Not all of them.
At least going into the marriage. But like we were talking about earlier, once they get comfortable, that consideration sometimes is like right down. So yeah, you can try, but I don't know. Women just don't. They don't. At least starting up, they might be like we were saying earlier, but yeah, women don't maintain accountability. It's very difficult for them because they can't just view themselves. And I wish somebody would be able to answer the why for me. Why is that? Why can't they actually ever view themselves as being accountable? You got one, Marcus? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Answer
I
that for me.
Marcus.
Yeah, I got a theory on it, right? So I think it's in the way that they process information. This is just a theory, right? I could be 100% wrong, but again, it is a theory. I think when they feel like they're in the wrong, instead of it being the wrong as the instance that can either be corrected or fixed, they feel it's an indictment on who they are as a person. Like it goes deep to the bone, where for them to say they're wrong, it's not just they're wrong in the moment. It's like you saying they're wrong as a person in general. So instead of them taking at what they'll do is apologize in a different way, right? So I think they'll try and do an act of service or try and show repetitive behavior versus physically saying or verbally saying the word, I am sorry for doing XYZ. I really think it's how they process the information. I really do. Because for us, it's like, all right, my bad, and move on. But for them, it's like, oh, okay. Like, like, oh, okay. The words struggle to come out again because I think it's an indictment on who they are at the core of that. Like I struggle with my mother in having this conversation because she's the only woman that I really haven't been able to get the exact type of communication that I would like, right? And because I was able to identify some of those things, it helped. Like even though it wasn't the best experience, it helped me further in life because I understood that about like women from that experience to glean that from it. Like, okay, she's not going to fully outright apologize, but this is her version of what apology looks like.
You know what though, Marcus? The only thing about that is like we could catch a woman with the smoking gun, right? Like let's say she cheated on you her instance, she's always going to say, oh, well, he wasn't paying me attention. Oh, he wasn't giving me enough affection, or he wasn't. Like, we've heard Hink countless times on a panel say, I fucked that up. You know what I'm saying? So as a man, he held himself accountable. He constantly said it, right? As men, that's what we do. We'll say, look, man, we messed up out here, right? But women will be caught doing something like cheating, which is inexcusable, because no matter what, you have to communicate what's wrong or whatever. You don't just do that. But they constantly, no matter what, and they know that's wrong. They know that's wrong, but they'll still will always have some excuse for it.
You seen that little that apology diagram where they was like, if you wrong, you wrong. And then if you wrong, and then it showed all the ways to go back to being you wrong.
I saw that, yeah. Yep.
That thing is funny. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Send it to JR.
Yeah, see if you find it, send it to me. So then, is it safe to say that we should just accept this as being a woman's nature and not waste our energy?
No, hell no. Hell.
Well, you always got to fight the fight.
Hell no. Look here, man. I guess I'm an asshole because I'll sit there and sit there and tell you I accept your apology. But then she'll say, well, we'll apologize for what? Then I will let her know exactly what she did. And then I'm looking at her, waiting for that goddamn apology. No, we can't let them off the hook. Just like I wouldn't let my son or my daughter off the hook. I'm not going to do that. A lesson's got to be learned, and you're going to learn this lesson today. She won't take it the hard way, you're going to take it the easy way. But we're going to learn these lessons today to allow that to happen. No, sir, JR. We cannot let it go just because you're a woman and you can get away. We can't do that. Like with my lady, I told her, I said, your ass got away with pretty privilege way too long.
Nope.
I can't answer for what happened in your previous relationship. I give a damn less, but I know what I'm accepting. I know what I'm not going to accept. Now, if you're wrong, you're wrong. You got to accept it. Just like if I'm dead wrong, I got to apologize and own up to it and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So I expect the same thing from you. Treat me how you want to be treated. So if I'm wrong and I apologize and you wrong, you need to apologize. Ain't no getting around it trying to get me, cook me my favorite meal or get me my favorite action figure or promise me a certain trip. They're still not going to blow over. I'm still looking for that apology, baby. But I appreciate the gifts and the food and the sex.
Let me tell you something.
Apology.
Bro, you got a better chance. You got a better chance of finding Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, wearing a blue Dickie suit, you know what I'm saying, at a Black Lives Matter goddamn rally than you do getting an apology from a woman. Let me tell you about my ex, bro. I swear to God, every time she was exactly dead wrong, let's just say if I reconcile the situation, then she would give me the exact apology she should have given the whole time. I did it one time, and after that, I'm like, nah. Because if I didn't do nothing, then you're the one that's going to have to apologize, which explains why we're not together. You know what I'm saying? Because when I tell you she was allergic to accountability and condoms, it's crazy, bro.
And who?
Condoms. He said she allergic to condoms.
Sean, is that the real reason why y'all ain't together? Because she's allergic to their condoms?
Well, she was definitely a cheater. You know what I'm saying? She was fine, but she was a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Go ahead, Shan.
Is it true that women struggle? Listen, all the cliches, all the jokes, all of them are about women not taking responsibility for their actions. All of them. There are no cliches and jokes about men not taking responsibility. You can't think of one. This lady in the video is a therapist, I guess. Women will think a therapist is bad if a therapist tells her that she's wrong at something. I've gone to therapy and therapist says, hey, well, what do you think? He's no good, or he's on your side, that type shit. Because if a therapist tells your woman something that you told her before y'all start going to therapy, and he just said the same damn thing, it's then he's a shitty therapist as far as she's concerned. You know, oftentimes when a woman takes somebody else's opinion as gospel that you said prior, it typically needs to be somebody that's been in her life her whole life, you know, been in her life the whole time. But a therapist come along, you don't know what you're talking about. I need another therapist. That's what happened. That's why the lady was saying that the women don't come back. They think it's a fix or something like that. You know, and then when women do realize that they fuck, oftentimes it's 3 days later. You didn't fought on, like, y'all had this big old argument on Sunday, didn't really speak, didn't talk at all on Sunday night, kind of went through the motions on Monday. Then Tuesday she come around because maybe it clicked in her head and shit. And even then, she's gonna apologize with a blowjob. She ain't gonna say I'm sorry.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, women tend to think a blowjob is an apology. And in my case, you know, I'll accept that apology. You know, in that form. But a lot of guys won't. A lot of guys like, no, I need you to fucking say you were wrong. And my bad. I was wrong. I won't do that again is a sentence you will not hear from women. My bad. There's 3 parts to this. My bad. I was wrong. I won't do it again. It's 3 stages to that full apology, not that passive aggressive shit. Oh, I'm sorry that made you upset. No, we don't know. I fucked up. It was on me. You won't see it again. That's a full apology, but you won't get that. So,
could it be that they're just
there's a lot of broken relationships, man. It's a lot of broken relationships that should be together. There's a ton of broken relationships that should be together if women would simply take accountability for their actions, where they did something wrong, whether they wrecked a car or when they yelled at somebody or spent some money they wasn't supposed to spend or didn't do a task or fucked up the dinner or didn't clean or wasted their time doing something like that. And the guy brought it to her attention and she didn't like to hear that shit and she didn't want to take accountability for it. And men, and more men today, me being one of them, ain't settling for that shit. Men would rather be alone than settle with women who won't say I fucked up. It's to a lot to guys, especially today, it's just not worth it. So, ladies, that's all, you know, it's you either reprogram your brain because, you know, you had the princess there, you know, you had the princess treatment your whole life. You were never wrong. As a little girl, even when you fucked up, you wasn't wrong. Oh, come here. But boys didn't get that. Boys were held accountable from age 3 until adulthood through all the sports, from coach on football practicing, had to run them drills in basketball. We fuck up. We all fuck up. Boys are held. That don't happen with women in sports. That doesn't happen in debutante. It just doesn't happen. So it's conditioning, and you just need to reprogram yourself. Are you willing to reprogram yourself to have a successful relationship with a man? Unfortunately, today, we know the answer.
Could it be just a break in communication, though, for real? Because, like you said, women's apology would be that gawk 3000, right? And we usually gladly accept it. Could it just be that that's what they really mean, but they just don't communicate it the same way we would love for them to articulate it? Just like, you know, we have our own ways of communicating affection, right? Not all of us are like want to grab and hug up and kiss up. Some do, but not everybody's like that. It doesn't mean that we don't love them, but, you know, we just express our loves in different ways than women do sometimes, right? But maybe they're expressing their apology with the Gawk 3000 instead of actually saying a word. Maybe it's just way too difficult for them, but the thought is there, and is it the thought that counts?
Nah, man, we got a common denominator in communication as human beings. And see, this is where Mr. Let Go says that women are children. This is the credence that speaks to that statement that he makes.
What?
Because, you know, if it's like, oh, you just can't, as an adult, grown adult, come and sit down and talk to me and tell me where you fucked up. so I can accept that, and then we can move on and push this behind us, then anything else is adolescent. Anything else, just that's what, all the crying and the whining, or the blowjobs, or you dancing around a simple, straight up, direct, sincere, which is important, apology. So there's certain things that we get lost in translation, the whole Mars versus Venus, but fucking apologizing for where you fucked up, that's common. That's a common language amongst all human beings, and women just need to know how to do that. Because at one point, women did do that. It's today. This is a new phenomenon. This ain't something that women have been doing all along. This is something new that we're starting to see. Like, what the hell? You look at grandma. Grandma know how to apologize if she needed to grandpa. It's now that you're looking at young people, particularly, saying, "Damn, you won't say that you wrecked the car." Yeah, but the way they pulled out the parking lot was you made a left. When you make a left, it's your fault. No, I don't believe that. And then you got to go. Let me go. Or when you tell a woman something, she got to go look it up. And then when she look it up and it be what you said, you won't hear her, "Oh, damn, I didn't realize that." Okay. No, it's gonna be something else. The goalpost is moved. So I hear you, bro, Trev, but fuck that. We all speak the same language when it comes to apologies. That shit is fucking universal.
All right, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, no, y'all spot on. Like I say, so the only person that I have this issue with specifically is my mother, and it's because I don't have the leverage in the relationship that I would need to. In that, like, I can't withhold sex. I can't, you know what I'm saying? All the things that you could do within a relationship, I can't do that with my mother. So I just either got to take the relationship for what it is or move on. You know what I mean? In a dating relationship, though, yeah, I probably, if I'm not getting the exact behavior I want. But with my mom, shit, it's not like I could just get another one like how you could with a woman. Like, I just can't replace her the same way. Even if I want to, I just can't replace her the same way. So, yeah, that's all I want to say.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and keep it moving, y'all. You guys are tuning in. Welcome to King Talk. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That one super chat came through from Dub Will 499, says, "BJ ain't it an apology, but it's a hell of a substitute." Shout out for that, BJ. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into our main topic of the night, which is pick a partner based on purpose, not pleasure. Pick a partner based on purpose, not pleasure. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip.
Do not pick partnerships based on pleasure. You pick partnerships based on purpose. And I think that's where a lot of people get messed up. There are a lot of people you can be compatible with, but they're not going in the same direction as you. The pleasure wears off when you get in a pit. Like when it ain't working, when we lost the money, when you used to dress up for me and now you looking like a grandma, like all of those things, that's when you have to pick partners that you remember. Why did we get together? What was the purpose of this? What did we say we were going to do? And so a lot of times when people are starting to date and have fun and do all the different things, they're not thinking purpose. And it's hard to think purpose when you have not spent enough time with yourself personally.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Pick a partner based on purpose, not pleasure. We'll go to you first, Hank.
Oh man, what a great topic, brother. What a great topic. Unfortunately, young Hank was doing just the opposite. He wasn't picking on no purpose at all. It was all pleasure because she had that tail on her that I love to see and eat and enjoy. But it kind of hurt later because it cost me financial. Yeah. Good eating, brother. Good eating. But later on in the night, with a few more birthdays up under my belt, you kind of realize, okay, it's a bigger purpose than just some good loving. You know what I'm saying? And so my standards, that's when my standards had to change just a little bit, and I operate on purpose. So now that's the phase I'm in my life now, and so my current lady that I am seeing and plan on marrying soon, I picked on the purpose, and she's on my purpose because she falls within the standards that I put out towards her, and she flips the bill. So I had 10 standard rules. I wasn't moving on. She was able to hit 7, so she's able to get a passing grade, so we can rock.
All right. Go ahead, Marcus. What are your thoughts about it? Pick a partner based on purpose, not pleasure.
Yeah, I think if you do that, then your life would be a whole lot happier. I think men making decisions based off who you are extremely attracted to or who gives you the most butterflies to be in a long-term relationship with, it's a recipe for disaster. Because when men talk about the women they pedestalize, that's most of the time what happens. They thought she was so beautiful that they put her on this in this space where they really view her as the most pleasurable thing that they could have. They just got pleasure just by looking at her and being around her. And because of that, you let stuff slide. You let her get away with, like we were saying, the disrespect earlier. You let her get away with not doing things you would have requested a woman that you weren't so much infatuated with doing. And it puts you in a position where you can't achieve or do or be in the right space that you need to be based on you choosing pleasure over purpose. But when you're in a relationship that you feel is purposeful, you can't communicate the things you want because there's not this cloud of just ecstasy following you around at all times. You can think clearly. Like I told men this before, if there's 2 women, one that you just madly in love with, and ready to fight the whole world behind, and one that you love, that you know this is just gonna be a good woman, choose the good woman. Don't go the other way. Because if you see yourself pedestalizing her, that shit is not gonna work out. You're gonna end up having to visit your kids every 3rd weekend. I promise you, it don't sound ideal, but the only relationships where that work out is where a woman looks at you that way. Because the other way, it's gonna go wrong for you. I promise you. I promise you.
All right. Go ahead, Cloud. Cloud.
Yeah, I agree with what Marcus said, but I definitely think that you need a combination of both. Like a lot of time we go, should it be purpose or pleasure? Which is better, which are worse, and it's like I would think that the person that you're choosing to be with will provide you with both purpose and pleasure. I feel like that would be the ideal. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you really should have to compromise on that when it comes to somebody who you're calling, your partner. Like part of the purpose is pleasure because you know what, like, yeah, you could be helping me build this business and all that, but once the business is built, like, and I go home, like, if there's no pleasure at home, like, that's what's gonna cause somebody to step out and cheat.
Your mic is crackling.
I don't know what's going on with it, man. I don't know if I can know, man. But hey, man, it's still crackling.
Yeah, just
yeah, well, yeah. I definitely think it should be a combination of both. We figure out the mic, man.
Okay, all right. We had to start you a fun, Cloud. Man, hey Sean, did you go? I go ahead.
So I don't like those parameters. I ain't gonna lie to you, purpose or pleasure. If we being honest, most people and then definitely most men ain't on no goddamn purpose in life in general, and definitely not with no relationship. It's who we think is the finest. You know what I'm saying? It's who we get pregnant. It's things like that. So I don't even think most niggas even think about that. You know what I'm saying? And then pleasure. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'll say for me, right? When you with somebody and either y'all, all of y'all, or most of y'all have been married or are married, it takes way more than some fucking purpose to get you through them hard times. Way more. You got to actually fuck with the person. You got to want to be around the person. I don't care what your purpose is. If you don't want to be around that person, if you hate the sight of them, it ain't going to work. When y'all go through hard times, if you don't have a solid foundation, whatever that foundation is for y'all, it's not going to work. So I don't think it's one singular thing. I think it's a host of things. And I don't think at all, I know for sure that it's not purpose or pleasure singularly. Those could be components, but I wouldn't say either one of those singularly.
All right, go ahead, Shan.
I'm with my man Sean. Listen, purpose. Well, why are you here? Like, what's the reason you here in my life? To pleasure me. I mean, what are men looking for in what are men looking for in women? The overreaching thing, as I said last week, Oscar Wilde's famous quote is, everything in the world is about sex except for sex. Sex is about power. What is it? Traditionally, a lot of men used to get married so they can have consistent sex. I don't need you to help me make money necessarily. You can help me make more, but I don't need you to build anything for me. I need you to, help me have children, and I want to have sex, and I want to have somebody to talk to, and I want you to love on me, and I want you to help me with the things that I need. I want you to support my endeavors. I need you to be my number one cheerleader. I need, but when it comes to purpose, men's purpose is different, and his purpose shouldn't be necessarily his wife. It should be making sure his whole family's good to go. But to say pleasure is, I don't know that it's necessarily, you can necessarily separate the two, because like, I think this is almost kind of tantamount to what we talked about last week, or a couple of weeks ago, when a brother was like, man, I had a woman that was good for me, but I just couldn't marry her because I couldn't look at her forever. I forget that it was like a pastor or somebody, or maybe it was one of our shows, and he was I had to let her. Yeah, I had to let her go. Listen, man, I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry. I did not make the rules. I did not create the playbook, but I know how to play the game. And the game is, we want a woman that looks good. Women do not come out of the friend zone. If you are a woman that we are not physically attracted to, you will be in the friend zone forever. You will live there. And he will be single, and you will always be his friend. Men do not look at women that he is not physically attracted to and say, you know what, but she's such a great person, I want to marry her. That's not what happens. Women do that. Women, he wore me down. That's a women's trope, not a man's. Women, he's been around for 10 years, and I finally got with him. That's a woman's trope. Men don't say that. You stay in the friend zone forever if we don't like how you look. Or we are just such a sorry ass motherfucker. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some sorry men out there that just, they'll take whatever they can.
What?
But pleasure is important to men, especially a man of substance, a man that's worth his weight in, men that's worth something. Pleasure is important. And that's an important job. And that's why we talk about the fall off. Did she get big? Did she keep it tight? Did she bust it down in the bedroom? It's all that sexual sex stuff that's on men's minds, because that's what we think about. So purpose over pleasure, or not pleasure, pick her based on purpose and not pleasure. I don't know that that's possible. For anything, worth anything.
Just to further highlight Shan's point, bro, pick a woman based on purpose and let her start playing keep away with that pussy. Once again, another road to supplemental vagina. Don't fool yourselves into thinking that shit doesn't matter. Also, ladies, if you want your man to really, really rush home, if he really is attracted to you, send him something. Send him a text message. Send him a picture. Send him a picture of you wearing something, a video or something. That man is going to cut whatever short. If he's really attracted to you, he's going to cut whatever short. If you could master the art of different versions of that, if you could master the art of dating each other, if you could master the art of both of y'all making each other feel like you're both the prize, then all that other shit will become secondary and tertiary. I assure you.
So I was talking about men being over infatuated with somebody, and they only see them in pleasure to the point that it overwhelms everything else. So I'm definitely not advocating for somebody that you're not attracted to, because we got to be visually attracted. So let me clear that one up. If anybody heard that, you definitely got to be attracted. I'm not saying that, because sexy is important.
My last point with my issue with how he framed the conversation is, I think for some reason, not saying y'all, but in these conversations in general, everything has to be A or Z. It has to be a zero. It's like it's a zero sum game. It's like if I have to be either completely a Democrat or completely a Republican. I can't be nowhere in the middle. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, we have to frame it as either or. And I think most things in life that make sense are and. It's not either or, it's and.
All right. Anybody else want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll go.
Hold
So,
on. Go ahead and check. Kyle, go ahead.
Check.
Hold on. Check this out.
Oh, my bad.
Can you hear me? It sounds terrible, man. Wait till you hear the playback.
You got to reboot your hologram.
Are you sure that's a sure mic, bro? That ain't no sure mic, big dog.
Yeah, man. But everything else got to match up too, man. You got to probably get you a stronger computer or something, man.
You can't. Don't get your sure mic off of Alibaba.
You got to probably get you like an interface or something, man. I mean, the camera, the mic. It's like, hey, Cloud, I'm gonna give you my number. You can call me tomorrow, man. We're gonna see if we can see what you're working with over there, brother, on the equipment.
What you was about to say, Trev?
Come on.
All right, gotcha.
Sure is messing up. He funny as hell in the chat.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, you're going hard in the chat.
Go ahead, Trey.
All right, so yeah, Sean and Shannon made a great point. It's not binary, right? Like, it's not like, okay, look, you on this side or you on that side. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite words, balance. There's no way that I'm gonna choose either or, and I'm gonna stand on my my favorite thing is like sevens. Go ahead and get you like a 7 or something. Like when you start to try to get up to the 10s and 9s and all of that, now you're starting to run into that trouble, because a lot of times the higher they are
above
on
average.
that scale.
That's above average, Trev. 7 is 2 points above average.
Yeah, you could get that. What's wrong with that? That's too high.
A lot of men can't get no 7. And first of all, there ain't that many 7s out there.
It's enough. It's enough. Aim for the 7. Aim for the 7. You got to be confident, man. You should be able to obtain a 7. And if you can't, hit one of us up. Most of us will help you get to that point where you can go ahead and grab you a 7. So, yeah, because like we're attracted to how you look. When we first see you, we first get to know you, like we don't know what your purpose is. So we have to be attracted to you. To be able to maintain a successful relationship, I have to be attracted to you. We have needs, and it's not going to work if we're not attracted to you. There's no way. So that's an absolute must. Now, it isn't paramount, but it's like, well, I guess it is paramount alongside your purpose, because you can't be useless either, right? You need to be able to do things. Like you need someone who's going to be your other half. If it's going to be a long-term relationship, they need to be able to hold it down and sustain the household when you're away, right? You need to know that they're competent, right? To at least a certain degree to be able to maintain, even if they're not leading. There's times where, especially if you're a higher functioning male, that you're going to need somebody to maintain the fort while you're away. She has to know how to, okay, well, this is the kids' routine, or this is what we're doing with that. I got some contractors coming through. She needs to be able to handle those situations when you're not around. She needs to be a support system. So when you are having difficulties with something, or you're going to need help with something, then she can aid you with that, right? She has to be compassionate. Us as men, we need that softness around us sometimes, right? Like we need somebody to really, and most importantly, out of a woman, the number one thing that I feel like we need out of a woman is a nurturer, right? So that's another purpose that's a must. As far as her being a career woman and different things like that, that's optional. There are some men who might need that more than others, but every one of us needs a nurturer. You need somebody who's going to be willing to pour into you just as you are going to pour into her. You need that balance though. So you can't, it's never a situation where you could go one way or the other and be happy, because there's always going to be something missing. Those are two vital things. That's just like us coming into a situation saying that we can protect but not provide, or provide and not protect. That would be crazy. If we don't offer those two main functions, we won't be able to get any women. What's up?
Trev, there's a ton of 3s and 4s out there that will do all of that for you. She'll cook, clean. She'll answer the phone. She'll talk to the contractor for you. She'll raise the kids. She'll do everything you want. And she's a 3, and she's 230 pounds.
I'm not. I think you're getting that.
There's a ton
up.
of 3. There's a ton of 240 pound nurturers out there. They all waiting for
That's
you.
True. Hey, and you could rack them up if you want to, but I try not to deal with the heavyweight. I stay within my weight class, man. I don't punch outside of my weight class.
No. See, the question, Trev, was purpose over pleasure.
And I spent like the whole 2-3 minutes saying that it's binary, and you can't do one. Go ahead.
You can't. I hear you what you're saying, but I'm saying the question was posed as, man, you know what? You need to get you a woman. Don't worry about that pleasure stuff. Get you a woman that can do this for you and do that and be there and so on and so forth. And if that was the case, then there wouldn't be a lot of single women. There's a lot of women out there. That's what we talk about. Pick a struggle. You know, it's like she's cute, but she crazy. Damn, she everything that you need, but she hard to look at. You only want to hit it from the back and put her face in the pillow. It's almost like, but which one do men pick? They tend to deal with crazy beautiful before they deal with ugly, understandable.
And that's why the divorce rate's so high.
You know what I'm saying? That's nature. That's my point. So my thing is, we're trying to fight nature. We're simply trying to get women to be beautiful and sane. That's all. The argument today is women won't lose. Let's just use the weight part. You know, we could talk about, you know, are you agreeable and are you cooperative? Let's skip all of that. If 80% of women in America is overweight, and the 80% of that 80 is obese, why can't they won't even eat a salad, Trev? And knowing how men are visual, knowing how we care about beauty, and women are typically the hallmark of beauty for a relationship, can you go to Pilates class? Can you take a yoga class? Can you get on a spin bike? They won't do that. So the argument is, damn, if you are everything that I need in a woman for my purpose, for me to get what I want, to take care of the children, to be my nurturer, to tend to me when I'm sick, to be a good woman in that regard, why can't you also eat a salad?
You should.
Why is it so tough to get both? And if we had to choose between both, what this video or the question was asking is, pick the purpose. Don't worry about the beauty, the pleasure part. But men ain't doing that. And so now we're at an impasse and a whole lot of fucking divorces. 50% divorce rate, and then the 50 that's staying together, they hate each other. What do we do, Trev?
Listen, well, this is what I'll say. The more that you invest in yourself, the better man that you become, the more likely you are able to obtain a woman who has more features. So that's the first part. You have to make sure that you're right. I never had an issue getting that, right? I definitely ran into a couple crazies, yes. But yet and still, I never had a problem having females that were willing to support me and look good. But again, it's because I invested into myself. I made sure that I had everything right. Anything that I can control, I worked on, right? You have like just down to your grooming, down to the way you dress, down to hitting the gym, right? Being well read, educate yourself, be on your purpose, get to the money. If you do all these things, you see women start getting in your way and they compete. They're willing to compete at that point versus you having to sit here and battle for 3s and 4s. I mean, that's cool. And I'm not saying that there's no room for it, because that's fine if that's what you want to do. That's not what I'm going to do, though. You know what I'm saying? So your best bet is to invest as much as possible in yourself, and then see what you run into. But I mean, to be honest, if you want to be happy as a man, you're going to need both, right? To where you're not worried about your relationship, where you're not feeling stressed. You absolutely need a female to do all of those things. But then you could survive without the pleasure, but it's a rough road. It's not something you want to deal with. It's tough. It's tough. So you kind of need the both. I can't see it any other way. And even if you get yourself like a 5, which is an average girl, I'm not saying that's bad, because most women are average if you look at it. I say aim for the 7s. If you can obtain a 7, go ahead and get that. I say stay away from the 10s and 9s because they be a lot of trouble. Unless you are hyper successful, or unless you are a genetic celebrity, unless you have something seriously extra about you, you're not going to be able to maintain those 9s and 10s. That's just being real, right? You can get them, but to try to keep them forever, it's going to be difficult and frustrating and more of a headache than you'd like to deal with, right? All of the damn attention you going out. It's a headache. That's why I say jump on them 7s if you can, right? Because a lot of them, they're going to be good. They're not like too conceited. They're not out there all crazy. But they still something to look at. You could get your rocks off without a problem, and you good. And she's probably going to be cooperative if you got your stuff together.
Yeah, Trev, I don't know about not saying that you're not too conceited, man. Them 7s think they 9s or 10s, you know what I'm saying? And the 5s think they 7s, and the 4s think they 6 and better. I don't know.
Listen, I'll say this. I'm going to say this. A lot of women are bad, right? A lot of women are bad. But if you a type of dude that say you can't find a good one, then I have to question where you're sourcing your women, right? Because like you got a good woman right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. How about you, Shannon? You got a good woman? You got a good woman? You don't? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think most of us do or have had, right? But like I said, you got to be in a certain position to get it. Or at least Shannon, you would say you've been able to obtain good women at some point, right? Or you never ever ran into a woman worthy of nothing.
Define good.
Good, meaning that.
Define good.
Okay, so let's say she's able to give you that pleasure and purpose, right? To where you were fulfilled, that pleasure and purpose,
Listen,
and you
man.
happen to get along with her.
Listen, I get along with everybody. I'm cool with everybody. My problem is, and I'm physically attracted to beautiful women. I only fuck with beautiful women. Right.
Nothing wrong with
that's
that.
Not no problem. Can I get one that's on code? God damn. I mean, it's tough. Brothers is having you know, did you just hear about the Sergey, the dude that co-founded PayPal? Is because Elon smashed his wife and he just filed for divorce like yesterday. It's listen, man. Even money don't buy cooperation oftentimes.
No, that's correct.
You can get yourself together. You can do all of that to attract the best physically looking ones. It's tough to get one that's mentally solid with the right software installed, no matter what level you at. I'm sorry. I mean,
well, let me ask you this: Do you feel like
Tyrese? You know, I mean, I could run off a litany of celebrities that would support that statement. So when you say, Shannon, you got a good woman, a good looking woman, yeah, that's all I fuck with. A good woman, rock solid up in here.
Do you feel like you're capable of getting a woman on your program?
I have a very rigorous program. My program is not the standard program and shit. I have a lot to lose, and the requirements are kind of steep. But go ahead with your question.
No, I was saying, do you feel like you can get a woman on your program where she's gonna adhere to what you're talking about and just
let me do it like this? I haven't been able to. No, I have not been able to.
Now let me ask you this: have you blamed all the women?
Told me that they could, huh? I've had women that
have you blamed all the women?
No, oftentimes it's my fault.
Okay,
but I'm simply saying, I've had women that believe that they can get on my program, that believe that they can rock and be that, and then when the rubber hits the road, that engine don't move the way they thought it was gonna move. I'm very difficult in my requirements. Is I'm just my expectations and requirements are kind of high, or way above average.
Yeah, you might have to outsource.
I believe that there's a bunch of 3s and 4s out there that can jump on my program with no problem. I believe that there's a bunch of below average looking women. I believe that there's a bunch of overweight women who will be able to do any and everything I need them to do.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have to.
All right. Now, the one thing I would say is that for you to have a very cooperative woman, you basically got to top her by a few points, right? So if you're able to get like a 3 or a 4, right, to cooperate, then that means you are probably a couple points above her, because if she was dealing with a 3 or a 4, she gonna treat the dude who she with that's a 3 or 4 like nothing anyway. But if she get with this guy that's like a 7, 8, then she like, oh yeah, okay, and I better take care of this, because this is probably my last opportunity to be able to get one of these joints.
So no, Trev, you thinking too rational. See, that's that rational thinking. That's what we would imagine, because from us over here at Mars, that's logical. That makes logical sense. Hey, you know what? This is about the best I can get. I better treat him right. Unfortunately, that's not the case. What happens is women don't think logically like that. They don't think, wow, this man is so amazing. He's a provider. He's a protector. He's got a big dick. He got great credit. He has loving houses, and he's fancy. He's smart, intelligent. He makes money. I bet what they tend to believe is that they can even do better than that. And oftentimes, if they're getting smashed by one of those guys, let's say they're not even in a serious relationship with one. This is how a lot of women get damaged, because women don't typically go backwards. Like if a woman buys a BMW at 19, she's probably going to only drive a BMW or better for the rest of her life. If a woman has an apartment, they don't just know how to go crash on the homie sofa like men do. Oh man, I was up, but now I'm not up. Let me go crash with the homie until I get back up again. That's a men thing. Women is like, the whole world is ending if they got to fucking regress. Well, in dating for women, that's the same way. So if you got a guy that has money, he took her on a couple trips, maybe he brought her on the yacht once or twice, but he just was trying to fuck, and then he got rid of her. She's gonna feel that that's what she qualifies for, even though that's not what she qualifies for long-term dating or marriage. She qualified to give him some pussy. A lot of women are getting screwed by these guys that they like, and they think that they're qualified to have him marry her, and that's not the case. And so now in her mind, she thinks, shit, I'm only fucking with these dudes. And she got this average dude who she actually qualifies for, who lives down the hall from her in her apartment building, that she's ignoring. And he's like, why are you ignoring me? Like, you ain't, I'm an average dude. You an average girl. I kind of, I work at the post office. You work at UPS. We can get together. She's like, no, I was getting fucked by a dude that drove a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz or a Lambo. That's what I qualify for, and unfortunately, he was just fucking her. So the logic that you have makes sense in man's mind, but in women's mind, that's not the case.
It does make sense, and I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of the things that you're saying, it's kind of boiled down to like material things and money and physical things. You're talking about the tangibles, right? But there's the intangibles, and the intangibles are many times what will maintain a woman. I'm pretty confident about what it is that I do, right? I've done things. I've been in places I shouldn't have been, had chicks I shouldn't have had them do things that their boyfriends could never get them to do. At least they say, but I believe it's in certain cases. And it had nothing to do. These skills I learned when I was broke. Right. These skills I learned when I didn't even know how to take care of myself all the way that I do now. These skills, it just became just because of how I conducted myself. Right. It's all about knowing how to talk to women, be around women. That's what they're really attracted to. If you listen to these younger females right now, you know what they always say when they be like, I don't even, you be like, yo, you like dude, they don't even know why. You know what they say? He a vibe. That's what they be going off of, man. It's the way that you actually make a chick feel. Right? By just how you are as a man. That's what they're attracted to. It has something to do with money and stuff like that, you'll get women for the short term. You'll be able to obtain them. But for them to really jump on your program and really do what it is that you want them to do, it's the same thing. It's just how you see pimps have females doing crazy stuff, ripping them away from their families and everything else. It's because of they know how to talk and they're using it for the wrong reasons, right? You'll see them doing all types of stuff. You'll be like, damn, you're such a pretty girl. Damn, you're so smart. Why are you doing this for this man? And they won't leave them and they love them. It's just because they know, they understand women's minds. They understand what gets women going, right? So you don't have to use it to that extent, but you have to kind of dig in about women, because I had problems when I was way younger. I didn't understand. I had to learn the hard way, and with a lot of practice, knowing how to talk to women, what to say to women, what triggered them, what got them hot. That's what you have to get into. Once you master that, you're going to be able to do what you want. I'm telling you, it has very little to do with a lot of the tangibles that we're talking about, because those make sense for a logical person. But I'm not saying I have the confidence because of just that. That is a bonus. Those definitely add points to you. But what really is going to hold a woman is how you handle her. Guarantee you.
Kind of sound like you've been reading those pimp books too, huh? Yeah.
I never read a pimp book. I say that. I never read not an Iceberg Slim. I read nothing, man. I promise. Not those books. Not those books.
You got to reach back and grab it. Bring it forward.
I think y'all both right, honestly.
Hey, Trev been reading them books that used to have them black plastic covers on them at the local gas station. That's what Trev was reading.
No, I think y'all both right. Trev, you on point about all the intangibles that you're gonna need, right? But what Shan's saying, like, because I feel like I contributed to a lot of this too. Like,
I do this
with women that I didn't want to be with, but it was purely sexual, and then they might look down on the dude, you know what I'm saying, that is at their level. Like I've seen it kind of happen. And as I got older and looked back on it, I'm like, maybe we had a lot to do with that. Like guys that was doing the same, you know what I'm saying? Sean Antonio probably in the same boat, where because what tend to happen is they'll start looking at the other dudes like say she came out west with me, right? And then she go back to the suburbs. She look at them as goofies from that point forward. And some of those was good men that she could have dated. And now, Trev, to your point, you're right. You can get some intent, but that's almost a skill set, like being attractive. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody don't have all of those things put together to make the gumbo necessary to really be able to get by on those non-tangible tangibles. So y'all both right, honestly. Like listening to it, y'all both right. Yeah,
and not everybody does have that skill set. But it's something you got to work on. It's something you got to work on. And like I said, it takes practice. You might have to grab some 3s, some 4s and all that and practice. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see what women respond to. It's practice.
Do you hear what you just said? You might have to grab some 3s. You just said ruin a couple 3s and 4s. You just said become what Marcus said he was while you practicing.
I did.
So practice on these ugly hoes.
Yeah,
is what you just said.
That's exactly what I said.
The 3s and 4s, go for the 7s. Now that you honed
They're
your
not gonna die.
Fuck them 3s
They're
and
not
4s.
gonna die. It's just practice. They're gonna get some good McLovin out of it. What we talking about?
Hey, look. I'm not gonna say Travis is wrong, because when I was younger, in order to get my game up, that's what I did. I worked on
3
or 4, and then once I felt confident, I went with the.
You got your weight up. It's like boxing. You spar with you work your weight up. You can't just get the championship bout. You work your way up. You got amateur.
You high school years. I did what I need to do.
But here go the issue with
and it
that.
Worked.
Like, so look, I've been watching a couple of channels about, because before I came to the internet, I didn't know none of this stuff was an actual thing, right? So then I start looking at it. I'm like, damn, am I like I take accountability at all times. Like, damn, I'm personally responsible for some of this stuff. So if the men start just doing that to 3s or 4s, they gonna corrupt that market too. So what ends up happening? Because I seen a diagram the other day. I'm gonna send some of these videos to you, JR. But one of the diagrams was like, right now, because the men are maybe 8 to 10, and that's finance, money, looks, height, all those things, they're all the women, it seemed like, are pulling from that pool because they feel like they have access to him via Instagram. So from what I'm gathering from the men, they saying the women that they should be on par with, look at them like they're so far beneath them because either they got a response in the DM or they got the, you know what I'm saying, after the club, after a night, they got hit one time. And like, I forget who had the joke who was saying, if I hit Halle Berry at the club one night drunk, I had a good night. I just hit Halle Berry. That's not my standard moving forward. I just had a great night. I would have to consistently be with Halle Berry for me to think that that's my new norm. But for some reason, if the woman has sex with a man she feels is like, say she got LeBron, now she need to date Kevin Durant and the rest of them moving forward until something happens that evens it out in her mind that maybe this, maybe this isn't it. But that is going to be a period before that happens. And that's the period where the guys who she might have hit it off with, she's sunning. She like, no, I'm better than you. And I personally feel
a chick get hit by LeBron, she only looking at LeBron's from now on. She's in her mind, LeBron's like me. And I'm waiting on LeBron to wife me up. Because she got fucked by one in college.
That's true. It's hard for them to go backwards.
Yeah.
Sometimes the wall will humble them, but
yeah.
Like, shit is.
We're gonna go ahead and close out with Cloud. Go ahead, Cloud. Let's try it again.
No, I was just gonna say that. Can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me good? Yeah. Nah, I was gonna say I kind of agree with that. But if y'all remember that old song, with Biggie, when he was smashing the New York Knicks players, shorty, like at the end of the day, it don't really matter if she's feeling you, she's feeling you. Like, yeah, that's kind of true. If she dated LeBron, she might not mess with you. But there's women who will cheat on LeBron with homeboy from that work at the post office if she feeling him like that. So, it really, it's all nuanced. It all depends on the circumstance,
But Cloud, that type of guy probably got what Trev talking about. Like, some people just have an aura about them. And even though he might not have a bag, his aura is very intriguing and enticing, and it pulled people towards him versus like the average person. Like, I'm saying that aura is a skill equivalent to being extremely attractive without being actually attractive. You can, be so funny and so charming and so smooth that you damn near are the equivalent of somebody that's used like 6'7". Now your aura is so strong, it's 6'7", and as far as the stat line go and choosing to struggle.
It's the confidence.
The game, you feel me? That's just the game. Niggas gonna have to step their aura up. It is what it is.
Yeah, let me get to the super chat. We get up out of here. BZ formerly Baby Zaddy $5 says we're gonna need an example of a solid 5 for context and chat conversation. Let's gonna conclude King Talk tonight, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on your way out, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and make sure we support each other on the panel. Let's follow one another, man. Hit them up on the IG or the YouTube channel. So I appreciate you gentlemen tonight, and another bang in the books. We out, y'all. All right, y'all. Want to say thank you guys again. Appreciate you for tuning in.